Hey, g'day again. Alright, I'm back on this generator. I made a video last night about removing the bearings, and I'd already sort of done it. I'd done it in the press. And I spoke about how the shaft from this generator had a good keyway in it, but there's a lot of wear on this. I don't know what you call this piece, but this is where your brushes run, and it's very worn. It's possibly actually the reason why it stopped working, because there's a spring that pushes them down, but it can only push them so far, and then it hits the case that the brushes hold in. So it's quite possibly the brushes weren't actually being pushed onto it. So I've decided, to not use this one. Not only that, this came out of a different case. The other case had sort of loose wires. They weren't broken, but they could have also been contributing to it. And I spoke about getting the bearings off, how I put them in a press, and that you could probably tap them off. Well, I did tap these ones off because I hadn't taken these off yet. I've done what I should have done on the other one too, is tied them together in the order that they came off. So I know how they go back on. Right, yes, just used a punch to punch it off. Just got it on the edge of the bearing. Came off pretty easy. Anyway, so what I've decided I'm going to try and do is repair the keyway on the other one. And okay, so I've got the welder set up here. What I've done, if you can see that. So I've made a key out of copper. I've actually got a copper. I'll show you actually. Got a copper nail. This is a leftover from this boat. Yeah. Builded it down, flattened it out till it was the right thickness, and then placed the other key on there, marked it, and cut it out. Need to be careful with copper. Collects heat very, very quick. Okay, so if you're cutting copper with any sort of power tool, give it time to cool down before you touch it. Like I did one side of this on the bench grinder, and like zip, and it was already burning my fingers. It had already transferred the heat right down to the end, and I had to drop it on the ground because it was already too hot. So just be careful with that if you're working with copper. Transfers heat very quick. Right, so I've got this keyway in here, this copper keyway. And I've never actually used this copper before. I've seen other people doing this, copper and brass, when they've been filling holes and things like that in sheet metal, where they've put the copper up on the back of it and used it to hold the weld in place so it doesn't all fall out. So anyway, I'm going to see how we go. Because I think, if you try to weld it, it would be near impossible to cut that keyway out, without having the right sort of cutting wheel that small, grinding wheel. It'd be, really difficult. So I'm going to try and preserve the hole and just weld up where it's chewed out. Hopefully that's focused enough to see where it's chewed out. Yeah, there you go. I'll explain how this happens too. I checked it. You can see the mark there? That's with hacksaw. That's one stroke with a hacksaw. And it's, so it's basically only mild steel. It's not hardened steel or anything. You got to be careful with things like that. There's some things you couldn't do this with, like you wouldn't do it with a shaft in the middle of an engine or something like that. Especially if it's a hardened steel thing. You can't weld hardened steel. It'll crack beside the weld. It'll take the strength out of it. You just can't do that. So whenever I weld something, if I'm wondering what sort of steel it is. You know, like like this, like an engine part or a shaft or something. You know, yeah, that's how I test it. I mark it with a if it marks with a hacksaw, it's basic mild steel. And anyway, yeah, the other thing is all this copper is held in by some sort of resin base or bakelite or something. So I'm at this point concerned about getting that too hot. So I've charged up the compressor. I've got the air right here, and I'm going to cool it down. I'm going to put the heat, like when I weld it, I'm going to cool down this piece and sort of gradually bring it back. You don't want to immediately cool the weld, because then you make it really hard and it becomes brittle and whatever. So yeah, when I put the air on it, the aim is to stop this resin or bakelite or whatever it is from melting or burning. Also got a bit of pipe just across the thread. I don't want splatter landing on that and damaging it. So yeah, I was gonna explain how that happened. This is caused by, like this is where your belt pulley goes, and this is caused by that nut not being done up tight and allowing this to flop backwards and forwards. Yeah, like you think, oh, it's all going in one direction, but yeah, in between revving it and slowing it down and whatever, and especially at idle, it is going back and forth, and that's chewed out the keyway by not having the nut tight. You get this on a lot of things. What I've seen the most on is the Honda trikes. They have a spline on the back axle, and that gets chewed out, and it's for the same reason, is that people don't have the nuts hooked up to the right spec. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to attempt to weld this. I've never tried to do this before, so this is the first for me. I've got the welder cranked right up on full heat. I say full heat, it's not a big welder, it's a 161, very old welder. This welder, I bought this second hand, 25 years ago. Yeah, and anyway, I'm going to crank it up to full heat because I want it to bite quickly into the shaft, and I don't want the weld just to sit on top. I want it to bite into it. And yeah, so still wondering whether I should do just one continuous run along there, or whether I should start it, cool it. Yeah, I probably should start it and cool it, not put that too much heat into it. Yeah, thinking on the job here. As I said, I've never actually tried to repair a keyway before, so. And if it fails, I do have the other shaft, but as I showed, this other shaft's pretty worn in this department here, in this area, this copper where the brushes run, so yeah. Alright, I'll put you up on the tripod and we'll weld, see how it goes. Hopefully I don't switch the camera off in the process of doing this. Zoom in. Sorry about all the mucking around here, but it's trying to get you where you can see it. Okay. Now I'm on. Well. let's do it. And yeah, a piece of fibros, because we've got it sitting on a milk crate and I'm catching fire. You should do a test bit first, get the wheel, make sure the wheel's running. Oh, come on. The switch is going to muck up now. The switch in the handset. I've already replaced this handset once. So it's going to muck up again. No, keep going. Go to full then. That didn't take much. Shut up, you noisy bugger. I've just noticed. Just wondering whether the key had moved, but the key does actually appear to be straight with the shaft. So I think it's worn on both sides actually. It was worn a lot on one side. But, so when you look at that, the other side appears to be worn a bit crooked, like it's, I don't know if you can see it, but it's not really. That other slot's not really straight with the shaft, so that appears to be wear as well. Yeah. Do I weld it up without trying to take it out first? Or do I take it out, try and get it back in? Yeah, let's run a weld on it. See how we go. Where's my bit of port? enough airlift in it. Yeah, it's cool. Amazing what the air does. Huh? That's already cool enough to hang on to it. Well, it's a bit warm, but yeah, it's cooled down a lot. Okay, well, I'm going to take this over and sit in the vise, and then I'll bring you over in just a sec. As I mentioned, I've never actually done this before, so if it works or doesn't work, we'll learn together. Sorry for the mucking around setting you up. Don't actually have multiple cameras, and yeah, don't really edit videos. They're one take, and that's the way it is. Figure out what I've done with the hammer. Okay. So we can knock this cold key out. Well, that's not real helpful. The things I don't want to do here, I don't really want to tighten this too hard, tighten the vise. I don't want to bang it too hard because I don't want to dislodge this from the shaft or damage it. This ain't working anything like I was expecting it to. I don't know why, but I sort of expected that to just drop out. It's probably a bit loud. So. If I was a video editor, I'd turn the sound down about now, but I don't really know how to. Right, I'm going to try something else. I'll clean that off anyway. So. help if I switch it on. Hope all that's not been too noisy for you. Let's try again. Certainly taking a lot of getting out. I think it was still, a better idea than just trying to weld it. And then remake the keyway, but I didn't expect it to be stuck in there. Yeah, that's going to take a bit of getting out. Leave that for the moment. It is coming out, but yeah, it's going to take a lot more doing than I was thinking. I really expected that to just fall out again. Right, so what we're going to do, I only took a little bit off for the grinder, and the best option now would be to spin it, but actually if I still had the bearing on there I could do that, clamp the drill on the other end and support it, but yeah, I don't really have a way to do that. This is pretty slow, but if you try doing it with power tools, you're just going to cause it, to be out of shape. In a situation like this, slow is a good thing, because you're only taking a little bit off at a time. You can have a look at it. It's something I learned in school, actually, in high school. You'd think, file around like that. But yeah, I've been told to go that way and not draw your file back. Just forever getting in trouble for it at school. Metalwork teacher Davo, he come on and he clipped me across the back of the head. Of course that can't happen now, that's, yeah, geez, you'd be on charges. Yeah, he come on, he clipped me on the back of the head. Don't pull the file back, one way. Yeah, certain people stay with you for a long time. Yeah, 63. Talking about things I learnt when I was 13, 14. Davo was a great mate. Most of my teachers I didn't really like, but yeah. My metalwork teacher was a top bloke. That's annoying. Okay, check that. This is the piece that goes on there. Yeah. Whereas we'll probably could have be a little bit more off than I should have, but yeah, it's within reason, so we're good. Actually, I think that belongs on the other side. Where is the piece? This is the one that actually goes on there. Ah, that's good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Alright. So we're still trying to get that bit of copper out of there. Yeah. I really did not expect it. Copper is not supposed to stick. That's what everybody's told me in videos. This is definitely stuck there. Anyway, I'm not taking another hour yet. I'm going to bore you with it. That's your key. This is the actual key. Yep, see, we have retained most of it. So there's a little bit there. So I'm going to get that little bit of a, hopefully it's only on the top. Anyway, looks like we have succeeded in filling it in. We do have a gap the right size for the keyway. It hasn't, the weld hasn't pushed into the gap, hasn't closed the gap in. It's stopped where the copper is. Yeah. Unfortunately, copper's still in there, so anyway, I'll persist. I will get it out, but yeah, I'm going to call that a win. It still has fixed it. It's had a lot more issue, a lot more effort than I thought it was going to be to get the copper back out again, but yeah, it has retained the keyway, so I'm going to call that a win. Okay, and as I mentioned before, I'll make a video of reassembly, and yeah, so you will see this again after I get all the copper out. And if I've had to do anything other than knock the copper out, I'll tell you about it. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.